Before I cut my good bit, I'm just going to do a quick test to make sure that I've got my blade depth set for this board. I'm using a scrap piece of board and I mark the line I want to bevel. Putting some scraps at either end helps because you can start cutting in that piece of scrap and you can follow through into this piece of scrap, ensuring that you get a really good cut. Now I'm lining the ruler up 30mm or 1.25 inches back from the line I want to cut. I then put my bevel cutting tool, or actually my V-groove cutting tool, onto the rail. So what I do is I put my V-groove cutting tool onto the rail and I start to cut in the scrap board, pushing the board and the blade all the way in and then coming along the line we've marked. By having a scrap piece there, it enables you to cut past the piece of board that you have been using, and that way you get a really good cut in this piece. Now that piece will come out, and what we've done is we've V-grooved the foam core. Now this is great for when you want to fold that and make it into a wall, so we end up with a nice clean edge to it. So now I'm going to cut this. This is the outside piece of my study wall, so I'm just going to write study 1 on there as a reference. I align my ruler 30mm back from the corner of the room. I've placed 2 scrap pieces either side, and then using my V-groove tool or beveling tool, I'm going to come in, start cutting into that board, push the tool all the way in, and then cut cleanly through my wall section. I like to go past and then I just let the blades come back up while I still cut. That way I've just cut this wall so perfectly that I can take that piece out of there and then that will fold to make my study wall. Here I have my study piece, and it's going to start by going on here. We'll then trim the next piece. Now here's a quick and easy way to do the next wall. What I do is I align my foam on my plan, and then I can see where this wall comes. I make a small mark there, and then using my square I can draw the corner of the room. We now go back to our beveling tool. When you're cutting larger V-grooves with the V-grooving tool, it's easy to just put the tool straight on the ruler and then you align this small point on the front of the tool, and then on the back of the tool there's a little mark here too. So you can see I can adjust that until I get this dead center, and when I've got the front piece and the back piece dead center, I just run it up and down to check, making any micro adjustments. Now that I'm aligned both on the back and the front, I'm ready to cut. So a little tip I've discovered is by using these scrap pieces you can start gently cutting before the good piece of board, and then by the time you're actually in the board you want to cut, you're perfectly at the right depth. And you can see that line aligns perfectly between the 2 blades. I then just gently bring the blades up again at the other end. Here's the piece that's going to come out, and that would be my fold. So now I put my fingers in the grooves, gradually push down. If you set the blade depth too deep, when you cut this piece out, you have to be very careful, because otherwise you can actually break that join. Now if you've done that and you still want to join it, you can use double-sided tape down this edge and it will still stick to that piece. I like to just join these walls by using a small piece of double-sided tape. So I put the double-sided tape just down into that bevel. You can fold the foam core back and tuck that tape in there. Then I peel off the release and I'm able to fold that wall around and now I have a nice joined rigid wall. Now using the double-sided tape, I can put the tape along the wall on the plan. I just cut that tape with my Stanley knife, my utility knife, and then I'm going to put some down this wall here. If I peel that tape back, I've now got a sticky bed where I can align my wall. Now you can see that's quite firm at that point. We could pin it as well, but I always find that for quick architectural designs this is an easy way to represent it in 3 dimensions to the client. Now I'm just going to cut out this doorway. I can see by aligning the inside of this cutter where the start mark is. So I'm just going to finish this corner off. We're going to put this onto this wall here, and then we'll straight cut another piece of foam core which is going to come through, and we're going to put that piece there. That way we've created the doorway into the study. One of the other tools that's good for cutting straight with foam core is a straight cutter. We can adjust the depth on that. The blade slides in and out. And I'm just going to use this. This is a multi-tool that you can either have it cutting straight, or if you undo this little piece here, I'll just show you something quickly. If we undo this piece here and take this block off, it's really cool because you turn that around, and then when you screw that back in, that becomes a bevel cutter. So this can be used for doing those bevel cuts too when it's on that angle, But today I'm just going to use it straight, so let's just whip that back off, flip them back around. This is a multi-purpose tool. Very handy because it gets the angle right. So I'm just going to have a little cut like so. I just want to cut this straight down this line. So it's giving me a nice straight cut.